It's for people to get in,
Okay.
and I'm going to check to make sure it's showing everywhere.
Yay. I'm so excited. This is going to be such a great conversation.
Yes.
I cannot believe that it is.
About to be the end of the year, right?
Well, that because I hear like Christmas music playing in the background. I'm just like, it's ridiculous.
Okay, I see it's here. Just give, I see we got one person on. Hello, good afternoon.
Hi. Welcome to a great conversation.
Yes. We'll get started in about a minute.
All right,
Give it another
perfect.
minute.
Yeah, I had a few people. Now, will the replay be available in the group?
This is actually going to be streaming on YouTube too, so I can send you the YouTube
Okay.
link. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Because I had a few people that said they wouldn't be able to make it live, but they wanted to watch the replay. So,
Hello, thanks for joining. Hi, Candace.
hi, Candace.
And someone else said, I'm ready for this. All right, now.
Yes.
We
Let's
taking
do it.
2022 by storm. We coming in with knowledge. Hi,
Yeah.
Paula. Hey,
Hi,
goddess.
Paula. Goddesses in the house.
Yes. All right. Let me make sure I have everything. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Let's do
Um,
it to it.
before we get into the conversation, I just want to do an introduction to today's guest, my little sis, who I love, my
Love you.
partner in the co-author in the Unchained Goddess, Tierra
Yes.
Womack. Tierra Womack has her MBA, and she is the founder of the Brave Way. She is a serial multi-platform mompreneur of 16 years whose businesses have generated over 7 figures. As a business growth specialist, confidence and wealth coach, Tierra helps female solo entrepreneurs take their businesses to the next level to generate more success while working less for greater time, freedom, and balance in their business. Tierra is a published author of several Amazon best-selling books. She is a co-author of The Unchained Goddess. She is the author of 7-Point Guide of Recognizing Your Narcissist, Get Your Life and Identity Back. She's also a co-author on Living Life Goddess Powered. In her new book, go ahead and pick it up, y'all. Motherhood Goddess Power. She is also the host of She Radio Talk Radio. Tierra is passionate about helping women entrepreneurs. Now I know we got a lot of entrepreneur women out there in this group. Come on now, connect with your girl because she knows how challenging solo entrepreneur can be from her own experience as a successful business owner and from the hundreds of female solo entrepreneurs she connect with. As an international speaker and transformational coach, Tierra loves to inspire women to overcome lack of self-worth, high conflict relationships, and elevate financially, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Come on now, ain't that what we all about? She has dedicated herself to teaching female solo entrepreneurs how to achieve greater success, freedom, and happiness. Thank you, Tierra, for gracing us with your presence this afternoon.
Oh,
Tierra is
thank
my little
you.
sister, as I already said. I've known her for over 30 years. And it's just so good to just be in this space with her. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna before we get started in the question, did you have anything you want to say, Tierra?
I just want to thank you. I mean, I'm going to try not to get emotional in the sense of like, going from being a child and watching you as a guide, um, and how you showed up even when we were younger, to now being able to have these conversations as adults, as moms, as business owners, and knowing, like I'm getting chills just thinking about it, but knowing the growth and our journeys. So it's this is really special. So I'm so excited for this conversation, and it's such a good one. So I'm just so thankful for this opportunity with you.
Yes, me too. All right, you guys, get comfortable. You got your tea, your coffee, because we about to have a great conversation. You might need a notepad and a pen
Hmm.
so you can take some notes because we're doing this at the end of the year intentional. We
Yes.
want you guys to release the baggage so you can get that bag. So let's get started. And I just want to kind of everybody don't know what the bag is.
Hmm.
Some of y'all said, okay, I got some baggage, but I don't know what the bag is, but I'm still interested.
Yes, I
So
know
a
that's
bag
right.
refers to money.
Hmm.
So to get a bag or even secure a bag, that means you're acquiring money. For discussion, our discussion today will mostly involve elimination of barriers or baggage that keep you from getting your bag or your money for building wealth.
Yes.
So, to start our conversation off, I would like to discuss money blocks. A money block is a series of thoughts, a mindset, or a feeling that get in the way of you accomplishing your financial success. It can be getting out of debt, saving a ton of money, increasing your streams of income. These are all things that these money blocks are keeping you from doing. So, Tiara, what are some money blocks that keep women or people from, for that matter, from obtaining wealth?
Yes. I'm so happy that we're starting with this point because I feel like a lot of women in particular, when we're talking about our relationship with money, we don't understand where our mindset lies. We understand what we want. We understand where we would like to be, but we don't even have a true understanding of not only our money story that we're creating, but also what type of blocks and barriers are in the way. So I would say the number one money block that I've seen is fear. And
Mm,
understand that, it's fear of success, fear of failure, but that fear lies so deep within our subconscious and actually holds us back from acquiring, obtaining, accepting, allowing, receiving more money and wealth into our lives. And
mhm,
understand that, the thing with money, especially coming around new moon, okay, and the energy of creation and abundance and manifesting, we actually can harbor the heaviness of lack, the
mm,
heaviness of scarcity in our body. It shows up in physical manifestation. So when you have those, aches and pains, it literally can be the pain of that scarcity and lack that you are carrying around. Also,
mm,
when it comes back and talking about fear, we carry, and going back to the new moon and manifesting more wealth in our life, we carry so much information in our DNA. The information that we're receiving, and I know, Shamika, you're big on this, like what is being created and carried over generation to generation.
yes.
So we have stored and we're born with all the information, thoughts, and emotions from those that have come before us. And a part of that may be fear around the relationship with money, past oaths with money, to not receive. And so we're born with that. And fear sits right at our root chakra, okay, which is also where our survival is. So when we talk about the DNA that we carry and what we're born into, we as human beings, okay, or I should say spiritual beings having a human experience,
Mm-hmm.
we are only activated with 10 of those DNA strands, 10 of 12.
Mm.
Okay. I'm sorry, no, 10 are dormant. So we're actually operating with two. And of those two, we're only accessing information about at around 10%. So think
Wow.
about that. 10% of that DNA, those thoughts, those emotions, those feelings, the information we're creating and carrying is where we are ruminating on our scarcity, where we're
Right.
creating prosperity, where we are creating fear, where we are creating joy, just in this 10% container. So it's important that we as women understand that a lot of times we may have fears with money and it's not even our own, but
Mm-hmm.
that is what was carried over. Now, when we're born, we're only born with two fears: fear of loud sounds and fear of falling. So any other fear we have has been acquired. Okay, ladies. So any other fear we have, fear of more money, more problems, whatever that looks like, we have acquired through other means, through other individuals in our life, our community, our environment. Okay, so know that those fears aren't real in the sense of those are not our true natural fears. So that number one fear, I say no, is that money block is fear.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one that I see a lot with women is guilt.
Mm.
Because we as women, especially if you think of, coming from our original place within the motherland, within Africa, we are the mother of all nations. We are taking care of all other people. Okay, so even from tens of thousands of years ago, we were taking care of the entire village, the children, the spouses, and each other for survival. So when it comes to having this thought process of, well, let me do for myself, let me want more in life, what happens is that you can feel the guilt and really shame, and we'll get into shame as well a little bit later, but we have that guilt of, I don't need that. I don't need more money. I don't need that massage. I don't need this self-care. I don't need, because you feel guilty for doing for yourself. But again, that goes from generations before us.
What about worthiness?
That I think comes into it as well.
Yeah.
It's all in the guilt of receiving even. That's another
Mm-hmm.
one of the blocks that I always speak about, is like not being able to even receive more abundance
Mm.
and wealth into your life because you don't feel as though you deserve it. And when you dig deeper into guilt as a block, it does come down to, I don't necessarily think I deserve this. I had a
Yeah.
client who she told me that she made almost seven figures last year. Or in her words, I made almost a million and I lost almost a million in that same year. And when it came down to it, it was because she didn't feel worthy of having that much money. You see, so
Wow.
when we acquire our wealth, but we haven't dealt with those blocks, we haven't dealt with the fear, we haven't dealt with the lack mindset, we haven't dealt with the guilt or the shame behind receiving. Another block is grief. When we haven't dealt with those things, they're still going to be present, even though you may have a few more
Wow.
zeros in your bank account. So, grief is another one. Dealing with some of the women that I've worked with, where they have grief of maybe losing a partner, losing a marriage, losing a job, right? Always being in poverty,
Mm.
always not having enough money. So they actually will move from that grief that sits in our heart center and our heart chakra, and they will then carry that over to, even when their relationships are looking better, they get another job. Whenever that happens, they are still kind of stuck on this this feeling of, we all know that person that's always complaining. They always, nothing's ever going right, right? So it's like we
Mhm.
become addicted to that feeling, that vibration. And so you carry the grief over into not having enough money
Right. And
or
their
not
language,
being
they're
worthy.
constant.
What
Right.
would you?
I was going to say, and they're constantly manifesting the same thing because they're speaking
Mhm,
it out
mhm. Oh
when
yeah.
they're, yeah.
Hmm. So those are the main ones. I would say fear is number one. And then you have guilt. And then I
Mhm.
would say shame, grief.
Shame.
Hmm.
Let's talk
Shame
about
is,
that. Yeah.
yeah, oh, there's so much shame that we carry because number one, we feel shameful if we don't have enough.
Mm.
Okay. And we feel shameful if we do, and we still don't feel fulfilled.
Wow.
The women that I work with are high six figures, seven-figure women, and even some entrepreneurs that are starting out, but they've had success in their business and then they feel shameful because they still feel as though I'm not worthy to have this money. I still have these other thoughts I'm dealing with, imposter syndrome, self-sabotage, inner critic. I'm still dealing with these things, but then I feel like if I vent to someone, if I express this to someone, they're going to tell me I'm not being grateful,
Mhm.
right? And then also, if you have shame around not having enough, it's like you may also feel stuck not knowing how to get more.
Wow. Yeah.
And you don't know who to turn to because if you look on social media, everybody's living their best life.
Right.
It's like everybody has this facade. So then you may even just be deep within that shame of, okay, I feel like I'm here to do more. I'm here to have more wealth in my life, but I don't know how to do it. And I don't know who to talk to about it because in fact, I'm embarrassed. Another block is ourselves.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Ourselves, because sometimes we don't allow ourselves to receive.
Mhm.
Being natural givers, being, feminine, circular, receiving, whereas men are, straight up and down and most of the time taking. But when it
Mhm.
comes to our feminine selves as women, many times we don't even accept the fact that we're not able to allow more wealth and abundance and prosperity, joy, happiness, all those things into our life because of those other prior blocks. So a lot of times the first question I'll ask a new client is to determine where their relationship is with money is I ask, what is your relationship with yourself?
Mm. That's real
If
good.
you're feeling like you're sabotaging your relationship with money, you never see more of it, you're living check to check, whatever that looks like, right? How are you treating yourself? How are you showing up for yourself in your life? How are you being consistent with yourself? You want consistent income, but where
Mm.
are you not being consistent with your self-care, with your
Right.
self-love, with all those other areas? If you feel like more money, more problems, every time I get money, I literally was talking to a friend today who said, it just seems like more money I get, the more I have to deal with. And it's like, but understand, you're bringing that, you're calling that in
Right.
because you're feeling like you're doing your own form of self-sabotage with those types of thoughts and belief patterns. Because what I know is my mentors that have built successful 8 9 figure businesses, their mindset is the more problems and more debt I have, the more money I make.
Right.
Whereas we think the more money we have, the more problems. So it's flipped, so it's like
Mhm.
understanding what your perception is and where you're not showing up for yourself. Because if you're not showing up for yourself, how is money going to show up in your life or anything else? And how can you move into that receiving energy? And then here's another point for everyone that's tuning in. Another point that I always love to make is wealth is not just how many zeros are in your bank account. So
Right.
when you're thinking about, ask for everyone if you're able to write this down to journal on this later, or if you're driving and you're not able to write it down, just think for a second. What do you want to create more of in your life? Is it more money? Is it more wealth? Is it better relationships with people where you feel valued, heard, respected? Better relationship with money, even
Mm.
like just understanding what is it exactly that you want more of? Because wealth is bigger than just those zeros. Wealth
Mm,
includes health of self, which is mindset. How are you loving on yourself? How are you being your own biggest cheerleader? How are you um allowing healthy relationships into your life, like having that knowledge and awareness. And then I always say too, time is money, time is wealth. That's
yes.
a big wealth factor, right? Because a lot of the women, when I'm working with them, they've built these beast of businesses and they find they don't have time. They've really just created a job for themselves in their own business.
Mm-hmm.
They feel lied to. They're like, wait a minute, everybody said when I built this and it's successful and I hit this financial mark, I'm going to be happy and have all these things going on. But I feel even more stressed out, overwhelmed. I don't have time to enjoy life. I can't show up for my children's functions, being a wife, a partner, girlfriend, a friend, a sister, whatever that looks like. And so I say time freedom is also wealth for you.
Mm.
It's the energy of the money. When somebody gives you a compliment, are you the one that says, because I know this used to be me, I am raising my hand here,
I
where it
already
was
know
like,
what you're gonna say. Me too.
yeah, when somebody said, oh, I like your hair, right? I'll be like, oh, yeah, it's really, it's like everything but thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Just teaching ourselves to just say thank you when we receive compliments, because that is showing ourselves that we are open to receiving.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody offers to get you a coffee or buy you lunch and you're like, oh, no, that's okay. I'm not hungry. No, sometimes if you're able, receive that, because it is still in the energy of receiving, and money is energy.
Mm.
Money is energy, it's scientific. It's like what we're attracting to ourselves, and understanding that a lot of times you may say, well, no, Tiara, I don't really have fear or grief or shame or guilt, not that much that I could say. But when I get to the point of how open are you to receiving, I'll even do it. I'll give them a compliment, and I hear their response. I'm like, okay, you're not really that as open as you think. So that is its own block to you
Yeah,
receiving.
that's good.
Yeah.
What about limiting belief systems as a
Well,
business?
yeah. So when we talk about how important our subconscious is, and how it really is the dictator of our life, and how
Mhm.
we move the actions, beliefs, and thoughts that we have throughout the day, every single day. The belief systems that we have, which may not even be our own, or may have been accumulated over the course of our own lives, or a little bit of both, they have such an impact on how we allow money into our lives, how we receive money, how we handle the wealth that comes in. Because when you talk about those beliefs that maybe I'm not worthy of having money, because nobody else in my family is really doing all that well. So, maybe
Mhm.
they'll start to treat me different. Even if you don't know you're having this thought process subconsciously, you may.
Yep.
Just because of little comments your best friends, your family may have about success that you're building in your life. Or when you say, you know what, I'm sick of living check to check. I'm tomorrow, I'm doing better. I'm gonna get into fitness. I'm gonna, like, whatever these things are. And you have people that are like, girl, shut up. You always say, like, people that aren't supportive, you don't even realize that subconsciously you are dealing with their own limiting beliefs that's keeping you in a box when it comes to receiving more in your
Mhm.
life. And some people may do it out of love, right? They don't want to see you try to get more and not achieve it, and ultimately end up hurt, so they'll just kind of try to keep you in that comfort zone or in that box,
Right.
again, due to their own limiting belief system. So when it comes to those thoughts and emotions and patterns, I always say start with awareness. I feel like we're so inundated
Mm.
with things to do. Sometimes all you have to do is just be aware. Like, you know
Yeah.
what? Okay, I'm listening to Tia and Shamika, and I didn't realize this before. Now I kind of will take a look at how fear of having money is showing up in my life, or, self sabotage, or how I'm showing up for myself. I'll just look at it, because when you look at it and you become aware, you can never go back in the sense of like not being aware. You see what I'm saying? Now, whether
Mhm.
or not you choose to act on it is up to you, and that's another step. But once you become aware of those thought processes, if you're coming from that standpoint of poverty or prosperity mindset, you can never unlearn that. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just, sometimes it's okay to just be aware.
Yes, that's good. That's good stuff. I know in coaching my clients, I talk about those limited belief systems, and like you said, how a lot of them do come from our grandparents, our great grandparents. They done spoke it, and then our mother and our father, said certain things,
Mhm.
or just in our communities, we hear certain things, and without even knowing it, going back to that subconscious mind, we done built a belief system
Yeah.
in our subconscious mind. So we can be saying something out of our mouth, but
Mhm.
subconsciously, what we're really thinking and feeling and acting and
Mhm.
behaving is based on that belief system that
That's
we have
it.
built up. Yeah.
That I call it BS. That's
Oh,
that belief system. It's a BS. That's what it
wait,
is.
I like
It's
that.
not
I
serving
use
you.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna coin that, and I'm gonna give you.
Yes.
That is so good. So,
Hmm.
how important is confidence when it comes to building wealth?
Well, to me, confidence is everything. I would say between confidence and self-worth. Okay, to because you can have the confidence to acquire the money, to go out
Hmm.
and do whatever it is that's needed to do to bring the money into the bank account. But you have to feel worthy to maintain it.
Yeah.
You have to have the confidence to believe that you can change your situation. You have to have the confidence to believe that you can have a different life than what you may see around you or may have been raised in. You have
Hmm.
to have the confidence to say, okay, I hit a detour, a block, a hurdle, a setback, but I believe going into, I know I'm pretty sure your community is, of spiritual faith and things of
Hmm.
that nature, but I always go back to Ephesians 3:20 that says, we are promised to be blessed exceedingly abundantly above and beyond anything we could ever dream or imagine. So you have to have the confidence to say, I am declaring that I'm receiving these promises that were made to me from,
Yes.
before I was even born. So I feel like confidence is important in being able to still go through the trials and tribulations of life as you are learning your lessons, because I feel like everything we go through is just that lesson that
Yeah.
we are supposed to learn and will help us for our greatest good and our highest good, but still just not giving up. And then
Yeah.
being able to increase your confidence. Like I was the first entrepreneur in my family. So I
Wow.
was making a lot of it up as I went, but I had that initial confidence to say, okay, I believe that I knew that I wanted a different financial life, right, than what I
Mhm.
was commonly seeing in the community and whatnot. And well, let's be honest, because we're both from Connecticut. So with my father moving from East Hartford to West Hartford, for those of you who don't know, West Hartford is very affluent within
Mhm.
Connecticut. And so going there, right? So living with a single mom, and then I went and lived with my father who was in West Hartford. I saw a way of life that I'm like, okay, these children are driving brand new Mercedes and living in mansions, and their parents are individual millionaires, which at the time was like, whoa. I mean, and a matter of, this was just a matter. Uh-oh. Are you there, Mika?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Sorry,
I,
y'all.
I had to cough, so I didn't want to be on screen coughing.
Okay, well, just ignore the phone in the background. But yeah, so just, that really opened my eyes to a whole nother world when it came to this understanding of like, okay, people are really living like this, and then they seem to, although they still have, issues and all these things that they're going to experience, it just completely opened my eyes. So from that experience, it allowed me to have the confidence to say, I'm creating this in my life and for my children, and going to continue to step out as an entrepreneur and shift and create a new generational legacy
Mm.
for my future generations to come. So Confidence is huge. And a lot of people always ask, well, how do I build confidence? Or I don't really feel confident, especially if they just lost a job or they want to um, start and pivot, from maybe going in corporate to a whole nother business, or they built a successful business, but they want to do something completely different. I always say, just start the process, take the action steps, because competency and whatever that area is that you are looking to acquire more of, competency in that area will increase your confidence.
Mm, that's good.
Following, discovering your passions and allowing that to be your precursor and guide will allow you to increase your confidence as well.
That's really good. And we talked about self-awareness, and self-awareness is key to building confidence. I
Mhm.
know for me, um, I had struggled with confidence just because of things that I had to get out of through self-awareness, from things that happened to me in my past and things that I built up in my subconscious mind. So I think self-awareness is another a good thing to
Mhm.
really, that's the starting point,
That's
right?
it.
That's the starting point.
Mhm.
Going through that process of being aware of who you are, knowing who you are now, but knowing who you are
Yeah,
and knowing
and
who you.
whose you are.
That's
Who you
right.
are and whose you are.
Exactly. Yes. And the word says your gifts will make room for you. And there's so many grave sites filled with gifts that never
Yeah.
made room for them. And it's
Mm.
because of the limited belief systems. It's because of the money blockers. It's because of, environment, circumstances, and all
Mhm.
of those things built up over time, causing people never to be all that they can be. And
Yeah.
they don't have the confidence to be all they can be.
Mhm.
So,
And also have all we can have. Like, we are promised abundance, prosperity, joy, happiness, and love, which is the
mm,
literal language of the divine. We
yes.
are promised those things in abundance. So it's like, when there's the shame or the guilt of wanting more, and not being able to feel supported in that, that's how, like you said, you die with those dreams, because we
Mhm.
are born, like, all of us always want more, and not to the point of just to fulfill our ego, but because we're born to be in a life, or living a life that is abundant in every area.
Yes.
So it's the money, yes. And then I always say, because when we were talking about the word patterns, the word tracks that we may hear from our surroundings, I always hear, oh, money doesn't make you happy. And I'm like, but neither does being broke. So that's what I stand on. So
Mhm.
understand that money may not make you happy, but neither does being broke. So if I
And
have
money
to go,
doesn't make you happy as a limited belief system.
it
That's
is.
it's a blocker.
It is. It
Yes.
absolutely is, because when you think about what money allows you to do for others, what money allows you to do in the sense of serving others. Mother Teresa had a private jet, y'all. Okay. So she was able to serve and get to others to help transform and impact their lives. So money allows you to be able to do those things. So even if you have an abundance of wealth, of financial wealth, and you give it all away, you're still impacting others in amazing ways. Okay. So
Yes.
even if you're like, well, I don't need all this to be happy, even if I always give this example, because I had a client who was like, I just want to, after her divorce, she just wanted to drive cross country in her van, and live her life. And she lived a great life. And I told her, you still need gas. So let's not negate the importance of money. So my success in my wealth factor may look like 9 figures, right? And for you, it may be just the ability to drive across the nation, but that's for you. That's your own vision, and not to feel bad about it. not to
Right.
feel bad, but to understand that you can achieve that, and whatever that level of success and wealth looks like for you, you'll be able to serve and impact others at that capacity.
That's good stuff. Let's get some of the limiting belief systems out there just in case people actually think like this or have these limited belief systems and they don't even realize it. So
Hmm.
we want to put them out there so people can be aware and mindful. I'm going to challenge you guys after this information that you're getting. You can't learn something overnight. I want you to guys to start putting this stuff into practice. Being mindful. Mindfulness is so important to change.
Hmm.
You have to be aware of what's going on at every given moment because we go on autopilot
Yeah.
naturally. So I want you guys to be mindful and aware. So when you're going into these um, limited belief systems, and I'm going to put them out there, money is scarce. I'm
Hmm.
unworthy. You need money to make money. Having money is selfish. Money,
That's a
more
big.
money, more problems.
Hmm.
Money needs to be held
Hmm.
onto.
Hmm.
Remember that servant that held on to that money? What happened to him?
Yep.
It was the one that multiplied it that got more added unto him.
Hmm.
Another one is like you said, money don't buy you happiness. These are
Hmm.
all limited belief systems.
Hmm.
So if these are things that you say or you think and you
Hmm.
don't say, you're acting on these limited belief
Hmm.
systems, and guess what, you're 9 times out of 10 you don't have enough.
Hmm. I'm gonna add on to there too, to piggyback, because those are so. I'm like, wow, I've heard every single one of them growing up.
Hmm.
Um, like, even to say, money doesn't. I think, did you have one there? Money doesn't buy you happiness.
Yep.
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 Like, you don't need all that money to be happy. It's
Yep.
in that same vein. So it's like, going off of what Shamika has and maybe having to reword it a little bit.
Yep.
So if it's not the exact wording, but I know that every single one of us has heard some variation of a majority of these
Yep.
in our lives. That is powerful. That is powerful. Yep. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Right.
Why do you think I just have so much, money, for things? And something else that I had, I came across a few years ago. There were five wealthy executives, and they were talking about chores with their children.
Hmm.
And at the time, I had my sons, they were doing their little chores, and I would pay them, right? To, I thought, teach responsibility and
Hmm.
money and all those things. And the executives said, and these were like elite, very wealthy, and they said that that's teaching your children that they get paid to do things they don't want to do. So instead, what they would do is they would have their children pick out things they wanted to do and then pay them for those. So you can start
Hmm.
creating that
That's
thought
a
process, that
paradigm.
belief, yep, that belief system,
Hmm.
that I get paid to do what I love, and just
I
having
love
that type of
that.
conversation. Mm-hmm.
Now that's a whole paradigm right there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad you brought that up. That's
Yeah.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset shift. That's what we're all about. Shifting that mindset.
That's
Yes.
right.
Good stuff. So we talked about money blockers. We talked about not having enough confidence. What are some things that people can do to eliminate the blockers, to build their confidence?
Um, so number one goes back to awareness, like you said, just being aware of where you stand. You know, when you
Mhm.
say, because I have this exercise I do, like, where you kind of talk into your money energy, you say, I love money, right? It's not like blasphemous, but if you even hear me saying that and you're like, oh, like, I don't like her saying that, like, but why? Just under having an awareness of, and it's not a right or wrong, but just to see where you're at on the spectrum. Okay. So that awareness is key. And then also, I feel like finding the tools that work for you. So with my clients, I'm able to give what has worked for me. And then sometimes they'll add on that. They'll use that exactly, whatever that looks like. But just knowing that you don't have to do all the things. You don't have to have like the vision board and the affirmations and this and do them all day and create like this overwhelming system for you to bring more money into your life. It may just start with in the morning, or you know what, even better than just in the morning, anytime you feel or find yourself having a limiting belief, to say it, to flip it and say something like, I'll tell you what I would say is, I allow money into my life with ease from
Mhm.
all different directions every single day. So if I was having, like, when I was as a single mom and first coming out of my relationship and having to rebuild completely from seven figures,
Mhm.
I had come all these money blocks and all these fears that I was dealing with, but I used to always just say, so either it was Ephesians 3:20 that I would repeat to myself, or I would say like, money comes into my life with ease. And not only that money comes in, but I receive money and wealth, joy,
Mhm.
happiness, whatever it is that you want into my life with ease. So you can use mine, put it in your own words, but or come up with something that feels good for you. And it may not
Right.
necessarily be the truth right then. That's not the point. It's what you're wanting. Because I always feel like when we have these urges for more, we have these thoughts and these maybe little visions of like what your life looks like, that you would just be in love with, right? Living that life where you have more than enough and you're able to do more than enough and serve more than enough. Like, I feel like those are messages from our future self that
That's
are
good.
letting you know this is possible. Like, I'm already here. Listen, I just need you to get here, like to catch up. So just seeing what those mantras, you could call them mantras, affirmations, are just those thoughts that you say to yourself, what they look like. Um, Also, something that I have done and have clients do is set timers on your phone. So,
Mhm.
just pick a few times throughout the day that you remind yourself to maybe say that thing, right? Or
Mhm.
like all is well, or what again, whatever it is that you're looking for. So this conversation is around wealth, but like, maybe saying that all is well, I have more money than I could ever want and need, and I am generous with the money that I have. Something else that I used to say is, and still say, is like everything that I spend, I get back threefold. You may say
Mhm.
twofold, whatever that looks. So it's just like shifting.
Affirmations, having
Yeah,
those
you know what I
affirmations.
mean? But something
Yeah.
that's not long-winded and something that feels good for you. It
Yeah.
has to feel good. It has to excite you when you say it, even though that other, subconscious voice may come in, like,
Mhm.
stop, like kind of trying to keep you safe. You could just think it, because all it's trying to do is keep you, again, safe, right? But it's like,
Mhm.
okay, and still continue to say whatever it was that you were going to say. Like, allow it to excite you to think about the possibilities.
And I want to add to that. So I'm real big on affirmations,
Mhm.
but you talked about that voice that come against when you're speaking that affirmation, and that's
Mhm.
really belief on
Mhm.
whether you believe in what you're saying, and that's so important.
Mhm.
Just my personal experience with affirmations. There were times where I had affirmations in my prayer closet, affirmations on my wall, and I would say the affirmations, but there was a part of me that did not believe them.
Mhm.
But what I had to do is I had to start looking for proof.
Yes.
A lot of times,
Woo.
for me, it was the word. You
Yes.
talked about Ephesians.
Mhm.
Listen, that was me. I would look for the proof. Now, in my mind, in my belief system that's grained in me, is God's word is infallible.
Mhm.
So for me, it was easy to rely on God's word because I
Mhm.
already have that branded in me that his
Mhm.
word is infallible. So whatever he says is. So
Yes.
you got to look for proof so you can believe what you say. So when you're
Mhm.
affirming something, you don't just say that thing. You look for, okay, and you can say I am this, and you say because. You
Mhm.
can say Ephesians. One of the things that I say is I am prosperous because
Yeah.
God's plan is to prosper me, not
Yes.
to harm me, to give
Yep.
me a future in
Mhm.
hope. So look for evidence so you can
Yes.
believe what you affirm.
Mm.
We're not playing with y'all. We want y'all to, we
Yes.
want 2022 to be,
Yes.
we're trying to build you guys up.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Oh, that
listen
is
to
it. When you
this.
talk about the evidence, when I was at zero, right? Like literally
Mhm,
rebuilding, all I had was the word. And I was not someone who I didn't know any scripture. Okay. I was raised in the Christian faith, but and I went to church here and there, but it was more for like the teen church. It was more of a
mhm,
social thing. Like I was not didn't know any books and this, that, and the other. And I remember I'm like, I'm gonna search. I'm gonna look because I know that there's more promise for me.
mhm,
And I just started writing down the scriptures that spoke out to me, and I would recite them so much that the ones that I liked, or that I really, felt in my spirit, and those are the ones that I could hold on to. So, like you
mhm,
said, it wasn't even a matter of if I had tried to say I am prosperous, it wouldn't have changed anything. But when I was
mhm,
able to recite Ephesians 3:20, like you just said, it changed something. So whatever that is
mhm,
for you all that are tuning in, whether you are of a different a faith,
mhm,
but whatever you can find that you can hold on to and tie in and clue in, like Shamika just said, that was really powerful. And also, when you talk about evidence, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there too, where we can see other success as clues for our own success, not
mhm.
to see other success as something negative or
That's
something
right.
to be jealous of or
That's right.
something to be in that frame of mind. And especially we as women, I feel like we are conditioned to be in that manner, especially within the Black community, right? If you
Mhm,
see somebody that's doing more, that's the saying, hence the saying crabs in a bucket. I mean, it's literally that ingrained in us, and it's sad. So I just implore you, when you see somebody else's success, is not to look at it like, look at them, everybody else is doing good and I'm struggling or whatever, but just to say, okay. And even if you catch yourself, remember, it goes back to awareness, like we've been talking
mhm,
about. Even if you catch yourself having that initial thought, like, well, why not me? Why can't I have this? Like, all whatever that is, where you maybe start to feel down on yourself, or just to say, no, that is evidence that mine
mm.
is coming. That is evidence that it can happen,
It can
right?
happen. I love
For
that.
me, and then you'll find that you'll start to just receive more and more because you are opening up instead of constricting. When you have those thoughts of maybe a little envy, jealousy, or anything, you start to constrict and block your ability to receive. When you are saying, oh, okay, I see you, oh my God, you're doing this, that's amazing, or you're just looking from afar, maybe somebody you don't even know, but you see them, instead of like that initial thought process that may be a little bit lower energy, just to say, okay, I see, I just saw this because this is my clue. This is my evidence that is coming for me, that is happening for
Mhm,
me too. And that allows you to expand, which then allows you to receive. And I'm telling you, when you shift that mindset, that limiting belief that is all, others always win. I never win anything. Everybody is always doing better than me.
that's a limited
Um,
belief system.
Mhm. Everybody's always getting their bag. Why can't I get my bag? Whatever that is, when you are able to release and shift that, you will be, it almost becomes like a game of how much comes into your life. It's amazing. It's incredible.
And something came to me when you were talking, and you talked about jealousy, and that's actually so common. And what I want to say to that is, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but whenever you are jealous or envious of someone, that's a sign that you need to work on your mental health,
Yeah.
because jealousy and envy is not normal. It's not a normal thing that was put into us initially.
Mhm.
It comes from some of the things we talked about:
Yeah.
fear,
Mhm.
um, not having self-worth and things of that. So I posted on the groups recently talking about how mental health problems make it hard for you to build your finances. And a lot of times, and that's why with 360 Health Transformations, we don't just focus on one dimension of health. We don't just focus on physical health or just focus on mental health, emotional health, and those things. We need to talk about every dimension of health because things bleed into other areas. And mental health is a main thing that bleeds into your physical health, that bleeds into your financial health, that bleeds into your social health, that bleeds into your spiritual health. So what I would like to add to that is take care of your mental health. Now, a lot of times people think mental health means you got to be crazy. When I say crazy, you got to be diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar or something like that. No, that's not all. When mental health has all kind of different spectrums. There's different levels to mental health. Basically, when there's an imbalance in your mind and your thoughts process, there's something going on with your mental health, with your emotional health. Your mental and emotional health are separate, but they're connected. So the other thing I want to mention is triggers. Now, if you spend a lot of time on social media, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get triggered. Because like you said earlier, so many people living their best life on social media. And one thing that I've always put inside and say to myself, so I won't go there, so I'm not envious. First of all, I'm always happy to see someone doing well. That's just a natural trait for me.
Genuinely, for those who don't know her, she genuinely and has always been like that.
And the thing is, it's like when you're like that, more things flow to you. Because when you have a limited belief systems and when you have that mindset, it's like you end up, when you do get something, you turn into that servant with the one gift, or you lose it. You get holes in your pockets because you're being greedy. You don't want to give, and really, so many people have shown it. Some people look at certain celebrities. A lot of people go to Oprah, but what does Oprah always do? Give. That is like a key formula to wealth. Giving.
Yes, to
That's
receive
where
more.
that mantra that you hear people say, money flows through me. People think that means, oh, money's flowing to me. It's really money flows through me because I receive and I'm giving out. I'm receiving and I'm giving out. So it's like that's what abundance is about. And that's what the whole scripture, Psalms 23 talks about when it says filling up our cup until it overflows. So when instead of having our cup and drinking it up and taking it, it can't overflow like that. You're just keep filling it up. Overflowing is the money flowing through you. So as you're receiving, you're giving. So make sure you have in your standard of living, giving.
Yes.
Giving is essential. And sometimes, you have to like literally have a mission on or vision on what your giving is going to be like. Because I know for me, because that's like a natural part of me giving, sometimes you can give to the wrong people. You can give to the wrong things and you're spending out and you don't have nothing. So there's actually have to be wisdom used in giving. You can't just give. To give, you have to have, a strategy in place. And I literally had to go to God for a strategy. And I'm literally right now, I'm like, 2022 is coming, Lord. I need a strategy. I need a plan. I want to do something different this coming year. And I'm speaking things out. We talked about affirming things. I'm speaking things out. Some of you, if you're on my pages,
We've seen it.
I'm speaking things out.
Yes.
Doing it before the year comes. So when the year comes, I'm stepping into what I'm saying.
Yes.
So this is good. Everything that
I keep just having chills and chills listening to you. I mean, you hit on so many great things right there. And When you talk about giving, because you and I, we're natural givers.
Hmm.
And I feel like even if you're giving, you feel like, or it ends up being to the wrong person, right? Your intention was pure. So
Yes.
that's all the universe, God understands is your intention was pure, you're still going to be that receptacle for
Oh
more,
yeah.
right? And then also, to understand it is that balance of give and
Hmm.
receiving. When you think
Yes.
about your breath, so when you take a breath, right? When you hold, it's only so long until you have to let go.
Yes.
Okay.
That's
And so
good.
understand, like, you can't just give and not be open to receiving, because that is the completion for you to
Mm,
even have more to give, and that whole cycle. And when you were talking about social media, I think something else that I'd be interested to see if the audience, when they are on social, because it can be such a negative place, and a trigger, I should
mhm,
say, if you're looking at it from a certain standpoint. And maybe, and it's just popped in my head while you were talking, is to, when you see those posts and whatnot that may traditionally trigger you, is to say, oh, there's so much on here to inspire, right?
mhm.
Because I feel like if you can, because it's there anyway. So
Yeah.
those same posts that may trigger you because you're not quite there, maybe just look at, like, okay, there's just so much on here to inspire me to continue to want more and
Mhm.
do more.
Yes.
But no,
That's
but that
good.
was,
That's a mindset shift right there. She just
yes,
gave you another way of looking at something. So that's a
yeah.
shift in your mindset. So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how I always look at things. It's like you said, if this person's doing it, I'm so glad that, to see it. But that gives me hope. If she
Mm-hmm.
did it or if he did it, then that means that I have the ability to do it.
But
That there's no
but you've done the
limitation.
work too.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you've done the work to get there. There's so many people, I feel like they want to be there, but they're not quite there yet.
Right. You got to
Mhm.
do the work. And I'm glad
Yeah.
you said that. You have to do the work. And that work, as you said, starts with you.
Mm-hmm. That's
It's
it.
not about building a business and
Mhm.
doing this and that. It starts with you.
Yeah, that's
Got to
it.
work
And
on you.
I know that we're coming up on time, to respect everyone's time, but my thing is, I have just like a little very quick exercise that people can, it's not even exercise, but something that, the audience can do today, if you're able to, and in a safe place, to close your eyes
Hmm.
and take a few deep breaths to ground, and then just say to yourself, or out loud if you're able to, I feel great and peaceful and ready to allow more money into my life.
Mm.
Because that's something that I have also, said. And even right now, just if you're able to say that and just repeat that to yourself, or just say it once, a lot of times it can help to just kind of like bring it
Hmm.
all back in.
That's good. And talk about what that means when you say grounding. That's like a meditation you do, right?
Yeah, grounding is just kind of coming back to being still. Like,
Hmm.
we have so many distractions in life. A lot of man-made, just a lot of things that we are dealing with every single day. And I find that we forget to even do, like, implement, even for those who watch this, then it's like, then once they're done with this, they have to go maybe make dinner or make breakfast or jump on a call or do things, and you just get so wrapped up where you don't take a moment to just be present, so you can be aware of your thoughts. You can be aware of what you want in life. You can be aware, but that takes stillness. So you can
Mm.
have clarity of mind. So that's where you ground and take the deep breaths, and just have literally, it can just be a minute, 60 seconds, where you set your timer and just do some very deep breaths, and just get very clear on, what thoughts are you having. Because again, I think you touched on it earlier, where you're like, you can want all the things, but if subconsciously you're still having other thoughts, it's
Mm-hmm.
going to negate the work you think you're doing. So
Right.
being aware of those thoughts in grounding is a great way to do that, where it just means being still so you can be present in the moment.
That's really good. So I'm going to give you the floor. Tell me three things that you want to leave with the audience and tell the audience how they can connect with you.
Yeah. So in regards to the number one thing is understanding you deserve to have everything that you desire. Okay. Whether that is more money, more abundant relationships, more love, more joy, you deserve it. It's not even a matter of just wanting it, you deserve to have it. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, I'd say is yes. Number two, I say is to start today being aware of your thought processes, of your limiting beliefs, of any fear that you have around having a lot of money, having more money, or having not enough money. Just becoming aware of what that looks like for you. And then the third thing is to build a practice, build something for yourself that allows you to be present so you can really step into and visualize this future version of yourself that is living a very wealthy, abundant, happy, prosperous life. What that looks like, so then you can come back and start shifting into that type of energy. So, whether that is to have your meditations or prayer practices or your mantras, your affirmations, whatever that looks like for you, that form of self care is so important for you to start implementing in your life, even if it's 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, to set aside that time for yourself to really think about what is it that I want? Okay, so how can I make steps in action towards that? What is that thought process of this? You know, person that has this life of my future self that is living this life, what are their thoughts and belief systems? So just becoming very aware of not only what you want, but the ways you believe you may get there, understanding that if nothing comes to mind for you where you actually are thinking of exact steps, or you feel like I really don't know how to get there, it's okay. It will come to you. If you're doing all the other things, if you are opening up your belief and shifting your belief system, if you are doing your grounding work, your spiritual practice, if you are believing that you can have more, knowing that you deserve more, all of the hows will come to you. I promise you that. So, for everyone who's tuned in, it has been such a pleasure and an honor to share this time with you. Thank you. Shamika has just put up the ways to connect with me via email, on Instagram as well, at the Brave Way website is on there, and that has a link to my radio show, books, if you're interested in that. And my direct website is yes, motherhood. Woo. And the Brave Way website is www.thebravewaytribe.com if you want to connect there. Yes, okay. And stay
Yes.
tuned for those of you who have gotten your copy or received a copy of the Unchained Goddess. We have a goddess tour that will be coming up, so we'll have more details of
Yes.
that.
In
Yes,
the
coming up in
city
the new
near
year.
you.
Yes, so
Well,
just
thank you
amazing.
all.
But thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, Tiara, for being a guest with. We wanted to end this year with something because everyone makes New Year's resolutions. They talk about losing weight, but we want you guys to set a New Year's resolution for your financial health. It's time to stop talking about what you are or pretending that you're wealthy, and time to start building that wealth. And how you do that is you got to get rid of the baggage. You got to remove those barriers, those money barriers, remove those limited belief systems. You got to become self aware. One thing I know about our God is he is so wonderful that he placed a gift in every one of his creations. Everything that God produced in the earth has seeds, and everything sprout, everything that he created can recreate something. As a matter of fact, that is the essence of who we are. We are made in God's image. We are creators. And one of the things that we can do is create wealth. It's time for us to stop talking about it and being about it. It's time for us to stop going on Facebook. I challenge you. If you got triggers looking at social media, because I see so many people acting like they got everything together and they don't.
Mhm.
And that's why I try my hardest, no matter how much money I've got, you're never going to see me do that because I know that that's a trigger for someone. Now, what I would do is if I do have something, I'm going to tell you how to get it.
Yes.
Flaunt it in your face. But what I want you guys to start looking at things that continually increase your wealth. A Gucci bag does not increase your wealth. Start thinking about assets and not liabilities. Start thinking about savings and not expenses. Let's change our mindset, people. Let's change our mindset so we can truly live a life of abundance.
Mhm.
That is the thing Jesus said, I came so that you may have life and have it abundantly. That's abundantly physically in our physical health, abundantly mentally, so and emotionally, abundantly socially. He wants us to have abundance in every aspect of our life, including our finances.
Mhm.
So let's do it, y'all. Let's
Let's
change
do
the way
it.
we're doing in 2022. 2020 and 2021 was hard for so many people, but it gave us the opportunity to sit. It gave us the opportunity to be self-aware. And I hope a lot of you start looking at things different. I hope a lot of you lost some of the desires of things and material things and start taking life, seeing how fragile life is, how short it is. So many people have lost their lives in these last 2 years. And literally, when we talk about wealth, it should not be about us.
Yeah.
It should be about what you're trying to leave for your children's children. I ain't talking
Mhm.
about them ungrateful kids. I got some of them. Talking about your children's children. What
Yes.
kind of legacy
Mhm.
financially that you want to leave with your children? What kind of mindset are you wanting to set and make that be a part of your bloodline? Whatever, what your past, what principality may have been on your, because that's what poverty is. It's a principality. Whatever principality that may be on your bloodline, cancel it, sever it,
Yes.
switch it, change the mindset. It's time to build wealth. Love
Woo.
y'all. Thank y'all for joining. Have a
Wow. Have a blessed day.